Is our health system overhaul the only way to fix ambulance ramping? Good morning. You better be early because I'm playing this again. Jason, Melma, Stephen love volunteering as ambulance officers. I've flown my brother into ambulance safe. Absolutely. Oh. Stephen loved volunteering as ambulance officers. I followed my brother into his ABSEF. I absolutely love it. So much so Sibling Stars in this ad campaign encourage people to join up. Jason recognized to keep on with me, but I reckon it's the other way around. But James had to quit volunteering after he was diagnosed with a heart condition in 2012. And in 2019, that illness turned into an emergency. The family says it took 20 minutes for the ambulance to reach Jason at Victor Harbour, south of Adelaide. He couldn't be saved. There was some crews that were rammed, and other crews were just busy on job. Health authority at the time said they were satisfied with the response time, but the family doesn't feel the same way. Whether he would be here today or not is it's just something that we can't allow other brains to play with. Data from the MA shows that no state or territory is meeting its ambulance response time targets, and that's in part of due to a workload that continues to grow. The number of people attending emergency departments has increased by around 800,000 patients in the past 5 years. Ramping is when an ambulance is stuck outside of an ED, unable to offload patients into overcrowded hospitals. So if you got 10 or 12 ambulances line up the emergency departments, that's 10 to 12 can't respond. Governments are under pressure to create more space in hospitals by adding extra beds and walls. But like a new car park, eventually those spots fill up. Before you know it, you're back to where you started. The problem in hospital is what they call big block, where there's a patient in bed that doesn't need to be there. Major Tom was born with a rare neurodevelopmental disorder. She had seizure activity, she has apnea where she stopped breathing, and she also has dystonia and other physical elements as well. When we expect is to live past 2, she will celebrate her 12th birthday in August. You gonna sing with me? Kathy describes her family as ED frequently flies, often spending 2 to 3 days in hospital at a time, and endless waiting there and having to explain yourself over and over again is very distressing. Misha is much more comfortable being treated at home by her GP, but it's not easy to find one. By having the services, you can save an ambulance trip. This is a far greater problem because often the deteriorations in their case was entirely preventable if they've been able to access care they need in community when they need it. Doctors say there's many reasons for ramping beyond GP shortages. In fact, you can say we don't have a health system. We have a series of disconnected health services. We need to pull these services together. For months after Jasmine Stephen's death, his sister Mel was diagnosed with the same heart condition. She hoped the country can work together to improve the health system the way her brother tried to as a volunteer. He's made effort for anyone he wanted the service to change. He knew it was starting to go down. A problem without a quick fix. Ethan Riggs, ABC News. One more. Good morning. Jason and Melmoth Stephen loved volunteering as ambulance officers. I followed my brother into his MSF. I absolutely love it. So much so siblings started in this ad campaign, encouraging people to join up. Jason reckons he had to keep up with me, but I reckon it's the other way around. But Jason had to quit volunteering after he was diagnosed with a heart condition in 2012. And in 2019, that illness turned into an emergency. The family says it took 20 minutes for the ambulance to reach Jason at the harbour south of Adelaide. He couldn't be saved. There were some crews that were rammed. Other crews were just busy on jobs. Health authority at the time said they were satisfied with the response time, but the family doesn't feel the same way. Whether he would be here today or not, it's just something that we can't allow our brains to play with. Data from a May show that no state or territory is meeting its ambulance response target, and that's in part due to workload that continues to grow. The number of people attending emergency departments has increased by around 800,000 patients in the past 5 years. Ramping is when an ambulance is stuck outside of an ED, unable to offload patients into overcrowded hospitals. So if you got 10 or 12 ambulances lined up, the emergency departments that's 10 to 12 can respond. Governments are under pressure to create more space in hospital by adding extra beds and wards. But like a new car park, eventually those spots fill up that before you know, you're back to where you started. The problem in hospital is what they call bed block, where there's a patient in bed that doesn't need to be there. Mitchell Tom was born with a rare neurodevelopmental disorder. She has seizure activity, she has apnea where she stops breathing, and she also has dystonia and other physical ailments as well. Now expected to live past 2, she will celebrate her 12th birthday in August. You're gonna sing it with me? Kathy described her family as it frequently flies, often spending 2 to 3 days in hospital at a time. That endless waiting there are, having to explain yourself over and over again is very distressing. Misha is much more comfortable being treated at home by her GP, but it's not easy to find one. By having the services, you can save an ambulance trip. This is far greater popular because of the deterioration. The condition was entirely preventable if they're able to access the care of the neediest community when they needed it. Doctors say there's many reasons for ramping beyond GP shortages. In fact, you can say we don't have health system. We have a series of disconnected health services. We need to pull these services together. Those were the years. 4 months after Jason Moss Stephen's death, his sister Mel was diagnosed with the same heart condition. She hoped the country can work together to improve the health system the way her brother tried to as a volunteer. He made efforts for anyone. He wanted the service to change. He knew it was starting to go down. A problem without a quick fix. Ethan Riggs, ABC News.